I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for all men and women overseas, our first responders here that put their lives out there for us every day so we are safe. Thank you. Jeremy, it's yours.
We don't have anyone from the Fortnite precinct, at least as of yet. We're going to start with the gallery session. We have a quorum. You need 23.
We have more than 23.
A minimum of 23. Let me put it that way. All right, so we have some speakers are going to come up to the mic here. And you got 2 minutes. Frano here is your timekeeper. And then when your 30-second mark hits, he'll raise this cardboard thing that says 30 seconds. And after that, when your time's up, he'll bang the gavel and that's it. And the gallery session speakers who are not familiar with the ceremony, you can only answer at most 2 questions or comments from the board members here. Please face the board members when speaking. All right, so we'll start with our very own David Levin from Community Board 11 regarding voting rights.
Good evening. My name is David Levitt, and I'm a member of Community Board 11. And I am speaking tonight about voting rights. My polling place is the PS 83 Annex. And when I went the other day for the special election for public advocate, all the doors were locked. I have voted in that location for over 15 years. And when I say every door was locked, I mean every single door to the building. The handicapped, the front door, there was no other place way to get into the building. That was the voting site because the people were in there running the election. I had to bang on the door. I had to ring the doorbell because the schools do have a doorbell, which most people don't know. There was no sign available saying that you had to ring the doorbell. Finally, there were other people waiting. Finally, somebody opened the door, and I told them the doors were locked. And they said that the principal ordered that the doors be locked. And I think we need to do something about this. I think we need to report it to the Board of Elections, and we should let the elected officials know that this happened so that it doesn't happen again. That's my statement.
Good. Okay. I've got a question.
So Joe Thompson, microphone please, number 6.
David, I would prefer, personally, to go to the principal and find out what happened, and then maybe go to the Board of Election. I think that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I had a hard time finding the door also, but I came from Rhinelander and I started walking, and a couple of signs would lead you to the handicap area, but it's closed.
Right.
So when the students started coming out, I snuck in to go vote. That was my only way of voting, but they also let the students out at 2:15. I wanted that 15 minutes to vote before I come out and I find my son waiting outside. So I don't know why they let him out sooner.
I should say I was voting when I got home at about 6:45 p.m. And at some level, I understand why the principal would want to lock the door, because he doesn't want people roaming around the building. But there's school security that could be posted there, which has always been the case in the past, and they can make sure that people don't roam around the building, that they only go into the cafeteria and vote. There was also a New York City police officer inside, and when I raised this issue, nobody said anything, other than that the principal had ordered that the doors be locked. Thank you.
All right, so we'll reach out to the principal. Thank you, David. Max Resnick, regarding Local Voices Network.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Max Resnick. I am working on a project called the Local Voices Network with the New York Public Library. Hey, Danny. We're working in 3 neighborhoods here in the Bronx this year, Allerton, Tremont, and Mott Haven. And based on conversations that we've had with members of the community, there are big gaps in local news and local information. It's hard for people to find out what's going on, and when media reports on stories in our neighborhoods, it's pretty frequently negative stories or problems that people have. And there's a lot of other great things that people are doing in the neighborhoods that we want to be able to elevate. So our solution is, I'm working on a project with the MIT Media Lab, with the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism, and with the libraries to host small group conversations. And then those conversations are recorded and transcribed and made available to other members of the community to be able to follow up on issues and concerns that people raise. We're going to be starting out training people in the community to host these conversations in about 2 weeks, the weekend of the 16th, at each of the 3 branches, and it would be great to see some folks there.
Great. Any questions? Anyone? Diane Norris, microphone, please.
Hello.
Hi, Diane.
What type of issues are you discussing?
So people, it's purposefully open-ended. People bring up issues about everything from housing to education to things that are important in their life, and they share stories about experiences that they have living here, and then those stories become basis for reporters to follow up, and also for other members of the community to provide solutions when people have issues.
Great. Bernie, that far? Last question.
Hi, do you have information where they can contact you? Is it out there on the desk?
I'm going to be providing posters to the library that we'll send out, and I'll also share some with Jeremy.
Yes, if you could share it with Jeremy so that he could send it out, blast it out to all the board members, Jeremy, so that we can have the information he sends you.
Yeah, I have sent what they've given me before out, but if he sends me, I can resend it, whatever.
We're going to be creating some posters as well that will be advertising the specific dates when the trainings are happening.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Max.
Thanks. Oh, is there?
Well, yeah. On this side, keep it quiet, please. Manny Martinez, New York Public Library. She's going to be talking about stuff other than this project, right?
Yeah, separate. I mean, I could elaborate on that, but I'll talk about that separate. So good evening, Manny Martinez, Library Manager of the Allison location. I just want to announce that earlier this week, we actually renovated the children's room. So we moved the pre-K area to the back of the children's room to create a more welcoming environment that has already received a lot of positive feedback from community members. So a lot better. And this was, we're working on getting new furniture as well. And this was from funding from Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez. So thank you for that, for the support. Also, we got a new children's librarian stepping on board with us Wednesday, March 6th. So she'll be on board. I'll be onboarding her for about 2 weeks. So hopefully by April we can pick back up with the children's programming, early literacy programming, and then connecting with the community stepping out and participating in community events. Just wanted to let you know also, this Tuesday, we're going to be starting an adult acrylic and pastel art workshop. So it's going to be an 8-week art workshop for 2 hours a week, 2 hours on Tuesdays from 10:15 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. And all materials will be supplied. All you have to do is register. We got about 5 spots left. This Saturday also we're going to have a representative from the DOE coming to assist people with the pre-K application process, so to support them to get their children into pre-K, any child born in 2015. Also, the following Saturday, March 9th from 12 to 2, another representative from the DOE will be coming in. The title of that's Pathways into the Classroom, so if anyone's thinking of switching careers or becoming a teacher or para, they're going to be providing a workshop and kind of like a presentation on how to do that. 12 to 2, March 9th, and this Saturday, 11:30 to 1 p.m. for pre-K. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Manny. One question, Marcy Gross, microphone, please.
Good night, good evening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the meeting. And now this question is directed to Jeremy and the board. I have a question for the libraries. I spoke to the managers of both the Pelham Parkway branch and in Mars Park branch. And maybe Allerton is also interested in this. I don't know what happened with the book sales, but I have about 50 books to donate, and I was told that the donations are coming in faster than they can give them out. So, or they have no space, basically. How do these libraries re-establish book sales so they can motivate the students, they can pay less, instead of going to the bookstores, it costs less. So how do we get this going again, this program? We had it once and we want it again.
We can look into that. The process before so the donations, we used to be able to take in donations, process them with stickers and then add them to our collection. However, now I am aware that we're receiving our materials directly from the publishing companies with those labels already on them. So the process for donated material to get that back into our collection is a lot more in-depth and kind of sending the stuff out, getting the labels back on them, and then getting it back into our collection. In terms of book sales, I do know that there is one branch in Manhattan. It's the same Agnes branch that does collect on donated material, and then they get that back out and kind of do book sales. I know we can do them like on an annual basis, but I'll look into that and I can provide more information, maybe see if we could possibly, host a book sale. Definitely not. But we want to make sure the materials that we are kind of putting out as a book sale or putting back into our collection are in good condition as well.
All right, great. Raphael Schweitzer from the Play Fair Initiative.
Good evening. I want to take a little poll. How many people here have issues with their park not being clean on a regular basis? Okay, no, forget the poll. So this is the Play Fair Initiative. I was at a very large press rally organized by DC 37, the union that represents city workers, New Yorkers for Parks, and others. This is an initiative to get $100 million into the New York City Parks budget. Ever since the 1970s, the parks budget has not equaled even 1% of the city budget. Currently, it's about 0.7% of the city budget. We're building all these beautiful parks, but as you know, we have no people to maintain it, to keep it clean, to change over the garbage cans, to do basic preventative and basic repair. So, just want to read a little bit of what the ask is of this Playfair initiative. $100 million for the city parks budget. $10 million will go to secure, stable jobs for 100 city park workers, full-time permanent, and 50 gardeners. $4 million to invest in New York City's forests. $65 million to ensure parks of all sizes have full-time dedicated staff. $8 million to improve every Green Thumb community garden. And $4 million to provide programs and activities for kids in every neighborhood. Now there's a city council budget hearing next Friday, March 8th. If you'd like to testify, it is during work hours. It's at 2 p.m. at City Hall. Once you go in, they will guide you to where it is. Again, it's a budget hearing. If you'd like to testify, 2 p.m. On a separate matter, I had a question about the Brussels location. I see that now it's a members-only club. As you may know, that was a location in August. There was 4 people shot and about 4 or 5 people stabbed in an overnight altercation. It was a location that was functioning without a liquor license, but they were doing regular events with liquor, with alcohol, the whole 9 yards. I wanted to know what is going on at that location now. What permissions do they have?
I don't know offhand. I don't know if Don does, but we can look into it. Mike, please. Don, Sharon.
Getting back to your first thing with the parks, City Councilman Richie Torres has donated money to have the park cleaned from, I guess, White Plains Road and Bronx Park East all the way down to Astor Avenue, not Astor, AD Avenue, which encompasses our whole area, and community board as far as Bronx Park goes. And I'm sure that Councilman Jonai has done something for Pelham Parkway itself. Is there a cleanup over there on Pelham Parkway, or they just, not because they're still working on it?
No, Okay, so, Edith Blitzer?
No, Don, there is no cleanup for us. Raphael, Mark is head of the Parks Committee at the City Council. Yeah, and I suggest that maybe we should try to do a one-on-one with Mark before that vote.
You one-on-one or me one-on-one?
You don't want to be one-on-one?
No, you can do the one-on-one with Mark. But the city, come on. The city council chair, Karadnik, in touch with his office in Jefferson Park. But it would be nice to have a local press conference or rally behind this initiative, because FedCap is nice, but it's not something that's permanent, and it's not something that we could have in every park. And they clean the outside of the park, but the inside of the park, if you go along the paths right near the Bronx River Parkway, there's junk all over where the rocks are inside. This has been going on since the 70s. The parks, you can't eat if you have no food. The Parks Department has been starved since the 70s when it comes to maintenance funding for workers, for people to actually be there, clean the parks as well.
I'm not arguing the fact about, people to prune and clean and whatever they have to do inside the park. But the outside of the park.
No, it's gotten better.
It's gotten a lot better because that's where they've been doing all of the dumping.
Yeah, fresh.
Can I finish?
Go ahead, Edith, I'm sorry.
Okay, first of all, the part of Pelham Parkway that's Richie's will be cleaned. Our part does not belong to Richie. So we again are the stepchild left behind. The other thing is we met with a guy called Matt from the Parks Department, and they are going to remove all the bricks around the trees in front of the benches on our side of Pelham Parkway and fill it in with dirt. So that's going to be something that will be accomplished that's years coming.
Good.
Okay. You can get an answer on the Brussels. Let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, for gallery, Roxanne Delgado.
Hi, thank you. I'm here on behalf of Friends of Pelham Parkway. We started taking care of the parkway since July of 2017. I'm here because we're in partnership with New Yorkers for Parks, who launched their campaign at City Hall today to rally for the Fair Play campaign, which is basically asking the mayor to provide 0.01% of the budget, which is less than $100 million, to allocate it to the operation and maintenance of parks. Because our parks, we have 25% of Bronx is green spaces of parks. Yet we receive barely 1% of operation and maintenance. So this will help us continue our efforts to keep our parkways safe and clean. I'd also like to discuss, I actually was at the 49 Precinct Sector C meeting at Pelham Parkway houses. They did mention they can remove some benches in some of the NYCHA building, including Eastchester houses and Pelham houses, because it encourages loitering. So therefore, this brings back to the issue regarding the lighting in Pelham Mall and Pelham Parkway North. Last summer, we had to address the issue with people sleeping at Parkway overnight, doing illegal activity, including having sex and doing drugs and whatnot. I'd rather not go into details. But to make this short, this is why I'm still going to advocate against any additional lighting in the parkway, because I spoke to some of my neighbors who live adjacent to the parkway, and they also are in consensus with me, so I have to bring them aboard. Need a petition. And regarding this initiative, we're actually going to collect petitions and postcards before the hearing on March 8th, Friday, at City Hall, because we're going to try to make a presence for the Bronx, and we have to advocate for our parks. We can't be behind Facebook, so that's it. Thank you.
And I would just comment on that historically, cops will always tell us, you wanna try to keep the area crime-free, put more lights.
No, actually, they said the opposite, and actually, when I went to Mayor's Forum with safety, they said, when lights encourages people to do drugs, because in case they have an overdose, they want to make sure you see them. They don't go in the dark where they could be left to die. I've been to several forums regarding safety in the parks and outside the parks.
Okay, thank you. Yahe.
Yeah, we're trying to get more lighting in parks and streets as part of the public safety initiative. I think we need more lighting. I understand that part where extra lighting might lead to that, but we're worried about really safety. Safety is the big issue, and I think that supersedes any other issue that we have.
Well, I'm actually there every morning and night and actually help get rid of those homeless people. So if anyone's very concerned about safety, it's me, because I actually do walk the talk. First, I'm not against street lights. By all means, add as many street lights as you want. I'm talking about the parkway itself, the green space. The Parks Department actually installed a bulletin a few weeks ago where the parks hours are from parkway hours are from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. So after 1 a.m., NYPD or PEP can actually sweep the parkway and remove any people that still are remaining in the parkway. You can walk through the parkway, but you cannot settle down the parkway. That's a park rule. And by you adding a lighting inside the parkway, you're going to encourage people to loiter, and we don't want that.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, you said the NYPD is gonna go in and sweep it. They'd rather sweep a lidded park than sweep a dark park.
Well, the park is, first of all, to begin with, it's not dark. I mean, I wish you actually know, I'm talking about the north side, not the south side. The north side, we have plenty of lights from the Dunkin' Donuts, from the street lights. I mean, I work till 10 p.m. I sometimes get home like before midnight. I walk through the parkway to check for any garbage. It's not dark. It's naturally night. You don't want it to be Times Square where it's bright, full light. We don't want that. We don't live in Times Square. Anyhow, it's going to be regarding the residents who actually live in Parkway North, if you don't mind. Those are the people who are going to be impacted by a decision made by people who don't live in the north side of the Parkway. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Roxanne. All right, so that ends the gallery session. So we'll move on to elected officials. Oh yes, I'm very sorry. I wrote number 5 on there, but I didn't call you. So you're number 6, and Roxanne's number 5. I'm sorry about that. Final gallery session speaker, Debbie Cowlick.
Hi, my name is Debbie, and as you say, I'm a community board member. I just want to let everybody know that PS 83 is having a blood drive on March 20th. So please come out and support. You never know whose life you may save. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Okay. And that concludes the gallery session. So we'll move on to elected officials. Thomas McCaney, Borough President's Office.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a couple of items. One item in particular is a new program that the Department of Education and the borough presidents, all 5 borough presidents, have put together. The Department of Education has provided funds to each of the 5 borough presidents to pay for opening fees in any Department of Education property for community organizations to run programs between now and the end of the fiscal year. So if your community organization wants to have a program, a sports program or something between now and the end of the fiscal year, it's called the Extended Use Hardship Waiver Program. The flyer is on the table. So if you'd like to have a program in a public school for any reason, and you go through this process, the Borough President's Office will pay for the opening fees for the building for that particular event. It's a limited amount of money, it's a limited amount of time. So it is now March, so we've got to the end of June, so please, any organization, and I've sent this to Jeremy and he'll send it out to a wider audience, but anybody who's interested, the flyer is in the back, please take it and take a look at it. CBOs, youth programs, etc. There are just 3 quick items I want to mention. During the State of the Borough address, the Borough President announced that in memory of Junior, who was killed in the Community Ward 6 area, they're opening Camp Junior, which is in Harriman State Park, and it's being run by the Fresh Air Fund. Now, the zip codes of the children that would be eligible are not here in this section of the borough. It goes from 10451 through 10460. However, if you do know anybody, have family who live in those particular areas, again, there are flyers in the back. Please take them and follow the directions. It's Fresh Air Fund, and it'll be a sleepaway camp at Harriman State Park upstate. There are 2 career fairs. One is a construction trades job fair, which is being held on March 13th in the rotunda of the courthouse between 10 and 5. And these are for people who are interested in construction jobs, people who already are in construction but would like to secure some additional employment. And then finally, on March 15th, there's a Bronx LGBT career fair, which is being held on March 15th at Hostos Community College from 10 until 1 in the afternoon. Again, all these flyers are on the table. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Adam Bermudez from Councilmember King's office.
How we doing, folks? I'm just going to quickly talk about two events that we're holding. On March 12th, which is the councilman's birthday, we're having our annual State of the District address. It is going to be held at Evander Childs High School, which is at Bronxwood and East Gun Hill, very close to the 11th Community Board District. It is going to start in the afternoon at 3:30. So please come on by. If you have any questions or if you'd like to RSVP, I'm right back here. On March 5th, which is next Tuesday, we are having what is called 3/5 Clause Awareness Day. So a couple of years in the City Council, we passed a resolution acknowledging March 5th, which is 3/5, as 3/5 Clause Awareness Day. Why? To make folks aware of the historical incident of the 3/5 Clause. What's that? Well, I'm going to make someone aware now, if you're not familiar with it. So in the Constitution, when they were writing the Constitution, there was a compromise made between the North and the South that slaves were going to be counted as 3/5 of citizens for the purposes of taxation, what have you. So this event is going to be talking about that and sort of the issues of structural racism and that has permeated throughout the years. While slavery was abolished, through the 13th, 14th, and 15th amendments of the Constitution, no one ever said the 3/5 Clause is over. No one really said slavery is over. And so this is just an event. We're going to have a bunch of panelists, some academics, some faith leaders, etc. It's going to be at Hostos Community College next Tuesday. Doors open at 6. So if you have any questions or interested in RSVPing, I'm in the back. Let me know. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Adam. Marielle de la Cruz, Scott Stringer's office.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. There you go. We're all here. I'm Maria de la Cruz. I work with the New York City Controller's Office. I apologize. I was eating a cookie as you called me, so bear with me. I just want to make a few quick announcements. One, I think I've mentioned this in the past. The Controller's Office has an internship program for college students, grad, undergrad, young, and a little more mature. So if people are interested, please let me know. The deadline to apply is March 8th. So college student paid internship, and like I tell everyone, I was not able to do internships at a young age unless it was paid, so I couldn't afford to do that, right? So again, if people know anyone in college that's enrolled, let me know. I'll send you the flyer. We are also holding our Irish Heritage Breakfast. I know it's not far from here at all. It's going to be at 1 Center Street. So I know a lot of you only go to 1 Center Street at 8:30 in the morning, but I would love for folks to come down to our Irish Heritage Breakfast. That is Thursday, March 21st. Doors open at 8:30 at 1 Center Street, 5th floor. That's my other announcement, so if anyone's interested, it'd be nice if someone from CB11 came. And lastly, we have something called an MWBE University, Women and Minority-Owned Businesses. These are classes that people can take to learn not only how to work with the city and the state, but also how to maneuver the system so that your business can grow. So if anyone has any questions for me, I'm sorry for the cookies, I'm a little thrown off. But if anyone has any questions for me, I will be here till the end of the meeting. And thank you, Jeremy, so much for coming to our Parks Department meeting. I'm sure you've talked about it, or we'll talk about it, so I'll let you do that. Thank you.
Fernando Zagreb.
Yes, sir. This election that just happened on Tuesday cost the taxpayers of this state or city over $20 million for a turnout of maybe 10 or 11%. Being that Scott Stringer is in charge of budgets, maybe he could look at things like this, where we wasting taxpayers' money on something that has such a low turnout. Thank you.
I've heard that from a few people, but I will bring that back to my office to see if there's anything that we can look into. Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Amato from Senator Biaggi's office.
Good evening, everybody. Not much to announce this week, but I do just want to recap. Alessandra Biaggi passed her first bill yesterday. It is a bill that offers free women's hygiene products to young female students in all public and charter schools. Really important bill, and something that should definitely make young women throughout the district and throughout the state feel more comfortable as they grow up. Also, Senator Biaggi met with all of the different community boards, thank you. All of the community boards in the district last week. We held a meeting at Morris Park Community Association. Anthony, thanks for you guys for hosting. And I think it was a really great space for all the boards to interact and for us to just get together and sort of see where our priorities cross. For everyone here, it was not the full board, it was district manager, and maybe 2 or 3 people from each board. We'll definitely make sure the senator comes by to CB11 one day, but this was our way of kind of having that meeting, making an introduction early on. We also have a couple of events coming up. Yesterday we had a Black History Month event at the Morris Park Public Library. Tomorrow, and I put all these flyers over there on the table, tomorrow we have a regular event, our first one in this series. It's called First Fridays, and the first Friday of every month, you can come to our office, mingle with the senator, ask her questions, and just talk about anything that is on your mind. And it's also a really great way for you to meet the rest of our team. I know you see me every month, but we do have a whole team, especially our Director of Constituent Services, who you should come by and meet. So these are from 5 to 7 p.m. the first Friday of every month, and you can grab a flyer on the table there. Also, March is budget season, and so...
Sorry, Christian, we time you.
You're good. You can grab these up front.
David Levitt has a question. Microphone, please. So you can answer questions too, though.
I wanted to ask if there was an update on moving the office.
Yes, so we have submitted paperwork for our satellite office in Riverdale. We have yet to find the perfect office in this area, but I'm actively looking. I'll be out on Thursday looking for more space.
And it's between Marcy and Daisy. It's going to Marcy. Yep. I haven't. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
So, Biaggi, I have not seen her come here to these meetings. Why weren't we all informed about this multi-board meeting issue? I did not know she was meeting with the boards. I have other issues I'd like to discuss with her. She's not. I want her to be more open. You know, if that's what she's going. If she's going to represent, then she needs to represent the Bronx, not just Westchester, Riverdale. I'm not interested in that. We live here.
Sure. So we held a meeting in this district, right in the heart of CB11. While it was for a limited amount of people on the community board, that doesn't mean we were excluding anyone. It was just a matter of space. You have an opportunity to come on Friday for our open office hours. We also have constituent open office hours as well. I'm happy to come talk to you afterwards. We'll be doing a town hall in this area within the next month and a half. There are plenty of opportunities to connect with our office.
So that's the second question. And thank you, Christian. I mean, she is coming. You did say that, right?
Yes.
Great.
She's coming where?
She's coming to our board meeting eventually.
Eventually.
Not right now, but not tonight. It's in the works, all right? Senator Jamal Bailey's office from Ellen.
Good evening. I would like to inform you of our upcoming events. So on March 7th, we're having a human trafficking awareness event in Mount Vernon. That's 350 Bremerton Avenue, Mount Vernon, New York, 10552. Also, in March 30th, we're having our Capstock event, our annual Capstock event. This is, I believe, our third one. That's an event where we try to bridge the community and the police officers together. So we have it at Monroe College. That's from, I believe, 1 to 4 at Monroe College. That's 2468 Jerome Avenue. If you are interested, I have some flyers that's on the table. I highly encourage you guys to come. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Renell. Dylan Trogny from Assemblymember Fernandez's office.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? So I only have two very quick announcements. The first announcement is that we are officially moving our district office. So for the rest of this week, which is Friday, into probably around Wednesday next week, our phones and everything are going to be down because everything's getting moved. They're putting in new carpet, they're doing the whole thing. We'll be moving to 2018 Williamsbridge Road, which is right around the corner. It is still very close. It's still in the district. All of the information will still be the same. Our phone number is still the same. Everything else is still the same. And this Saturday, us along with the Union Community Health Center and PS 105, at PS 105 we are hosting a family resource and health fair. Just coming together, health fair, health initiatives. You can come meet with different insurance providers and different healthcare providers, so you can work towards not 62, right, Tom? And that's it. Any questions for me on anything? Oh, I apologize. That's my fault. It's 1 to 4.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dylan. Councilmember Torres' office, Joe McManus.
Just some legislative stuff. Councilman Torres signed a package of bills ensuring safety on school buses for the children. One intro is night shift, overtime reporting. That means when people work at night shift, they work overtime, they're going to try and calculate and make sure that they actually get in the right pay by job title, division, and by status. Facial recognition. There's an introduction because some businesses collect your fingerprints or your eyes or your face. What the bill would do is make sure that the business tells the person that's going to be in there how long they're going to collect it for, if they do collect it, and when if they share it with a third party. I know we talked about this cashless ban. Many businesses are not accepting cash anymore, so basically 25% of the people that live in New York City are bankless. That means they don't have a bank account, they don't have a credit card, and for me, personally, I like to pay cash because with identity theft nowadays, anytime you put your credit card, there's a possibility. So that was that. Councilman has free tax prep. You got to call for an appointment. Services, I'm going to put out some flyers for services, right to know, and the winter newsletter. Thank you very much. I'll be here till the end of the meeting if you need me.
Joe, one second. Tom Shiano.
We got a question.
Not a question, a statement. I'd just like to make you aware of the fact that since our last conversation, Parks Department or somebody working for the city of New York has taken down at least 3 more trees between Pelham Parkway North and Allenton Avenue.
Yeah, when I first met with Zeb Ruder, he said that probably most of those trees are going to come down. I suggested to him, could you plant trees? I saw him at the District Service Council meeting. As we were going out, he was coming in. He said in a week or two he would have the report about the trees on Hunks Park East. I asked him if he would make a presentation to Community Board 11's Parks Committee. He said yes when the report was done. As I was going out, I met Joe Mental, and I mentioned it to him also that they said that they would do a report to the Parks Committee, and then, if you'd like, to Community Board 11.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. We have from the mayor's office.
Good evening, everyone. So just one announcement. My name is Famal Kone. I'm from the mayor's office. Just one announcement I have for you. So on Monday, March 4th, we are going to Albany. We have something called Albany Lobby Day. So we are encouraging everyone to join us. Those who are interested in rarer control of the city educational system, we are going to Albany to lobby
the state legislation to give an extension of mayoral control of New York City public schools. We're going to have free buses leaving City Hall at 6:30 in the morning, and the bus will be returning back to the city at 7 o'clock that same day. So if anyone is interested in joining us in lobbying Albany on Monday, please, I've brought a copy of the flyers, right? You can just register online, and we will look forward to seeing you on Monday. That's the only announcement I have for you guys tonight. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Phil. I will say that if anybody has any election site issues that they want to speak to an elected official's office about, one person that does reach out to me, or did reach out to me this past election, if not previous elections, is the mayor's office. This guy right here. So if you have any issues you want to talk to him about privately before he leaves, you might want to take him up on that.
So Jeremy,
Yes, Fran.
why not give David's issue to the gentleman? I mean, doesn't make
That's
sense.
that's what I'm proposing.
So give it to him.
David, would you like to do that? Do I do it privately, or you want to do it? Okay. Thank you. So that would, unless I'm missing any elected official office, we will move over to Chairman's report. Tony Italian. Edith has a question. Microphone, please.
Can you bring up an issue in public to the mayor's office now regarding the electioneering?
You have an issue? There was only one question, right? I think there was a question, right?
There was no.
There were no questions? So, you have a question?
Yeah, my issue is, I live right down the block from Public School 105. And we were redistricted to vote in the new school down on Barnes and Leidick, which I have to take a cab to get back and forth. Why are the people that live in 900 Leidick, which is across the street from the new school, they're still voting at 105? And I live on Holland, nowhere near the new school, and I have to go to the new school. Could you give me an answer for that reasoning?
Yeah,
Mike, please.
So as a BOE Board of Elections thing, as you know, we had some issue with BOE as well. One of it was language access. They sued us for not allowing us to bring extra interpreter into the courthouse. So, so we had some issue with BOE already. So, and I'm glad that you're bringing this out. This is something that we will definitely bring out to their attention, that, you know, some schools were not accessible to folks who already, live in the community. I didn't know that, but it's good to know that. But we had issue with them already.
Yeah, what I don't understand is that people that live across the street from the polling place have to go somewhere else, and where I live somewhere else, I have to go to the other polling place. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And they want to know why the voting is so little. That's because you have to walk, you have to go. You have senior citizens that don't have an access to these voting places.
Thank you, Eddie. I wish you had told me this in the day of the election.
Thank you
because
very
we really
much for
wanted to-
listening.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. So that ends the elected officials portion. Chairman's report, Tony Italian.
Good evening. I'm here because Al D'Angelo is currently on vacation. He's on a cruise, okay? So I'll be filling in for him today. Okay, two things. A motion to approve the January 2019 full board minutes as distributed. Do I have a second?
Yeah,
Sandra, open for discussion. All those approving?
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? Unanimous. Kelly Murphy, one abstention. Kelly Murphy. Motion to approve. B, a motion to approve a 12% merit increase in salary for staff member Chris Kirker.
I'll second.
Second by Frano. Open for discussion.
12%, what's going on with the 80, the rest of it?
I'll let you know, okay? Let's vote on this.
Well,
Let's vote on this, and well, that's the motion, right? You approve it or you disagree?
that's why I'm saying.
All right, I will discuss that afterwards, okay?
No, because if maybe we should vote on giving him more money. That's my
We
point.
cannot, because 12% is the max.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. Now, all those in favor? Against? Abstentions? Unanimous. Thank you.
Enjoy it, Chris.
If there's money. If there's money. Okay, that concludes the chairman's report. Oh, it's again, David.
At the calendar, I don't know if you're going to address this at the leadership. It's not on the leadership, which you will also chair, Tony. I wanted to ask about the calendar because I believe the executive board agreed that the executive board would meet every month immediately following the leadership meeting. If we've done that, it should appear on the calendar.
That was an omission. It will be corrected.
Thank you.
At 7:30.
Yes, on the 21st of
Of
March.
this month.
Thank you.
Yeah, Joseph. Okay, that sort of takes care of Chris. And what about district manager and the other office? Well, the difference, the monies that would, I believe 30,000, 30,000. Chris's 12% comes to, Randall? He's the calculator.
I'm trying to remember now.
All right, the bottom line is I believe there's about 22,000. The executive board met and voted to hire a third person part-time. We did that in the past and it worked. So we voted to, the difference to advertise for a third person. Received it, Jeremy's going to get the resumes, he's going to review them, then make a decision which one is to come forth before the board for hiring.
Well, Tony, is that just the executive board decision, or is that the entire?
That was a
board
vote to
decision?
bring it to the bring the monies to the, to hire a third person. That was the executive board, right?
So the
This
executive.
has been done in the past, by the way, Joseph.
Okay, so the executive board.
Yes.
Voted
to
to
hire the difference.
And that's not a full board decision?
It's going to come to the full board.
The board will make the hire.
Once we get it, we'll come it before it. You guys don't want it, say no.
Okay, so that's gonna be the motion.
Whether we give, there's no motion now.
No, and whether we give the raises or we hire
Yeah,
a
the
part-time.
board will make the final decision whether if you don't want to hire a third person, we won't know.
Okay,
Anthony,
so that's gonna come to the board.
One at a time.
So that is gonna come.
In other words,
for a vote.
the balance of the monies is, we're looking to hire a third person.
That's the executive board.
The executive board, and then it comes to the board. We're gonna vote on whether we hire a third person. It's gonna come before the board.
Okay, and then that vote comes to the board.
Yeah, okay. Now, go ahead.
Tony, to answer your question, it's about 5,600, I believe, the total raise for Chris.
Chris is 5,600, so it leaves about 24,000 and change, 23 and change.
Anthony,
By the way, it's being advertised, it is being advertised in the paper, and we have getting resumes in. It's gonna be a part-time position, and from what I understand, I believe Tom said that if it's 21 hours, Tom, 20 hours, there will be full medical benefits.
Well, why does that come before? Before the board votes on whether or not we want a part-time worker or we want to give the raises to the staff. Now, we haven't voted on
You know,
that.
Joseph,
So why are we
you know what, Joseph? I'll tell you
advertising?
what, Joseph, when the third person comes, vote no.
No, that's not the point. The point is, we haven't decided, the board has not decided whether or not we want a part-time worker or we want to give incentive raises to the staff.
Yeah.
Now, we would like to have that opportunity to vote on that.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, you wanna do a vote right now?
Yes.
I'll make a motion whether it goes for merit or to hire a third person. How's that sound? Okay, that's fine with me.
That's great.
Well, wait, let's put a motion to hire a third person, that would simplify it.
You know, we both have something to say.
Yeah, again, Marcy, I'm sorry.
No, wait a minute. I want to, before, I saw 4 hands already, right? 3 before Sal, so let me start taking down. Does anybody oppose to Sal going first? So I'm going to do Sal. Who else wants to speak?
Kelly.
First. Okay, and then maybe other people. Okay, go ahead, Sal.
Can you hear me? Okay. Before you take a vote, first of all, you should describe the benefits of giving the staff a raise or adding another person to the staff, which way would benefit the community and the board better. We'd like to see both sides. Thank you.
Kelly Murphy.
No, my question is more general. Is this the money that was approved to increase the board's budget overall? Because this is something different. What is this?
So John Frater permanently retired from the
So
board?
it's that money.
It's his salary.
So,
That's what it
in
says.
terms of an additional, is that another topic that will come? Because at the time I had asked, is that going to be presented and options to discuss with the board? No, that's the salary money. This is the.
If you have ideas, feel
Well,
free.
no, I just think it's kind of the same thing. If there's additional resources, we should
Kelly,
talk about what
that
our
is another discussion. We have about $28,000 available. If we do not use it by June 30th, it goes back to the city. One of the proposals was that we go to the associations and offer to them, come up with a proposal to us, okay? And if it's approved by the board, we'll give you the money. It ain't gonna be like a big thing, but say you need 1,000, 2,000. That was another reason why we wanted to hire a third person, to coordinate this with the associations. That was part of the deal, that whoever gets this this part-time job will be the coordinator for going to the community associations, getting their ideas, and then following up with it. That was one of the prime reasons why we wanted a third person. Don Chiaro, go ahead.
Come on.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Marcy, again, I apologize.
Thank you. I'm like a stepchild. So, this is how I know. Hey. So here is my thinking. With this new role, just to ride the fine line, I know it is supposed to be a cover letter. In that cover letter, what were you, looking from the other perspective of the person who wants the job, what are the details of this job? What are the qualifications? What is the job description? And if it's only a part-time job, here's my other idea. Just let me say it before I get some back talk. I know somebody's going to give me some back talk. Joe is going to be leaving us, or he did already, and I need somebody to complain to on the weekends when I run up and down White Plains Road. So the other half, since it's a part-time job, can't we take that half of that job and the other part-time job and give them a full-time role, just combine the budgets somehow so we can have a real job description? Why can't we do something? Does there always have to be
So Marcy,
a line there?
the White Plains Road bid is a separate entity. Separate budget, separate entity. You can't combine the two. Okay?
Well, we can figure out a way somehow. But the thing is, we do need a job description.
That is the job.
Yes, it was emailed to you. I can email it again.
And what is needed in this cover letter for this person? What are the qualifications that they need in order to get that job?
Okay, it's in the email, but I'll send it again, okay?
We haven't got to that point.
So, Don Shiano.
Yes, it's on good. We did have somebody who just recently left, who was a part-time worker. He did put in quite a few hours, and he was extremely helpful. I mean, there's got to be a void once he left. In my opinion, that's the reason why you need somebody to replace him. and take up that position regardless of how much you're paying a year, get them in at least 3 days a week. Okay, I mean, I use everybody that's in that office equally, and I use John maybe 25% of the time.
Sylvia's next.
Well, I don't know.
Silvio.
Turn it on, please.
Yeah, sorry, turn that one off.
Question, do we actually need the person?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need them, actually?
Yes. So
Okay, the treasurer's report has been distributed. If you
No, we can't. Wait, we're Joe, yeah, Joe. Well, now Silvio heard money, so you think it's time for the treasury report? No, the idea is that before we read a job description, we have to find out where we are. Are we having the staff get their incentive raises, or are we going to get new people? Now, I think one of the ideas, and to find out if we really need that, we have not heard from the staff, Chris and Jeremy. So I would like to find out whether or not they feel that they're overworked, overburdened, cannot handle the job, and I'd like to find out exactly how they feel about the need for a new person to come in. Yeah, Fredo.
Joe, we had detailed conversation during our meeting, and one of the reasons for this part-time position was that we are not doing outreach to our groups out there. There is a lack of work, if you want to put it that way, or effort. I don't know which one you want to choose, but there's definitely a need for somebody from the board to go out there and canvass the area. I personally, with Tony Vitaliano and Jeremy, decided to canvass the area about a month ago. It shouldn't be the board members, it should be somebody working for the board. That's why we chose this route.
Very good.
The only problem,
Listen, Joe, let's vote, okay, Joe? We'll make a motion.
Yes.
You got a job description, what this gentleman will be doing, and we got $28,000 to spend, okay, and we're gonna lose it, and the main thing was to get the money out to the community. And I thought that was an appropriate thing, and I think it merits to hire a person to coordinate that. And the resumes coming in are gonna be reviewed by Jeremy and submitted to the executive board. If his choice is approved, his choice is coming before the board to vote for. If you don't want it, you say no. Okay, now, right now, this is the motion.
Wait, Lisa Soto.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
I think we should get Jeremy's opinion. He's the one in the office most of the time.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. I would like to hear from Jeremy, the director of the office, what his opinion is in terms of the staff workload, and when was the last time we ever got a raise?
I would like to say, Jeremy, say something. I feel, well, maybe I'm not right, but my feeling is if you have staff people working in the office, and if they're gonna do extra work, you're not gonna get somebody like John Frannon. Let's not kill ourselves. Any kid that comes into the office is not gonna be a John Frannon. Okay, but if you give the additional work, let's say to Jeremy, that he's gotta canvass the boards, why can't you compensate him with a raise in salary to do the extra work?
Okay, but wait, going back to what I said, can we hear from Jeremy? Can we hear from the director?
All right, T. You're all right, T. They're here.
All right, no spotlight here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to hiring somebody else, right? I have been given the responsibility of managing the Pelham Parkway reconstruction project, which John was doing for the past 8 years. So I think that's noteworthy. Let's see, increases. So I did get a managerial increase based on a union increase that the staff area received. Merit increase, last time I received that, I think was 2017 when I think Chris got a $5,000 increase, and then Harriet and I got $2,000 increases. 2,000 Harriet, 2,000 me. I don't know what else to say. Outreach, I definitely do outreach. I have no problems doing outreach, especially when I brought in, what, 20-something interns in the past 8 years. During the summer, I would always go out, we report 311 things. Go ahead.
Are those increases, are those comparable to other community boards throughout the Bronx and the city? I guess also a question for Tom. Like other managers, other staff.
As part of the mayor's managerial increases, the mayor authorized managerial increases for all managers as after the union settled their contract. So all the board managers citywide received that raise, and that was a 2% plus 2.5% retroactive raise to 2018. So yes, Jeremy did receive that, as did the staff. Okay, merit raises are subject to approval by the board and subject to approval through an evaluation process that the boards go through. So it does vary from board to board what that managerial or that merit increase could be. There are some district managers who receive merit raises that range from 6% through 12%. So it does vary, and it's up to the individual board. And obviously, you have to look at your budget to be sure that you can carry that over to the next fiscal year, as the $42,000, which was referred to earlier, has not been baseline in this particular year's preliminary budget. What was baseline was the additional funds that the city gave the boards for both union and managerial increases to cover the raise that also will come, and this is something as well. The third part of the raise for union members would be in October of this year, and that's a 3% raise. So the staff will receive a 3% raise come October, and the managers are eligible for the 3% raise as well. Question?
So Andrea?
Is there any possibility of doing both? Hiring, say, a college student at whatever the minimum is, $15 an hour, whatever, and giving the staff a merit increase?
There's not enough funds there.
For hiring somebody at part-time?
3 days, it was part-time, 3 days a week, 5 hours a day. It comes out to about 21,000 and change. You know, it was thought about, but you know, there's another thing. We're going to have to go into executive session if you want to persist about, you know, merit increases, because he was evaluated, and it's not open to the public. If you want to go into executive session, we'll do so, you know, and that would be discussing his evaluation. Yes, good.
What is possible, and while the executive committee, and I happened to have come to the leadership committee meeting last week just to be sure that the process was being done as it should. The board, the executive committee and the leadership committee have chosen a specific title, and that's what has now been posted. You could use a different title. Now that would require some changing in what we've done already. But if you change the title to, you mentioned the college, there are college intern titles, there are seasonal titles, where the dollar amount becomes a little less, okay? However, you now, the executive committee and the leadership committee have already put out this job description. It's in the newspaper. People are responding to that ad. At this point, you're going to have to collect those. You're going to have to go through a process, and then at some point, the board may decide that you don't want to move forward and hire somebody at that point. That is the board's prerogative at that point, and then you can reopen a job vacancy title under a different title. But since you've already, and that's why legally everything is out there now. So you have to at least collect, go through the process, and at some point the board says, you know, and you have to then look at your budget. You know, we don't want to do this at this level. We want to do a college aid. We want to give Harriet and Jeremy X amount of raise. Then you have to look at your budget.
Joe, let's get there. Linda.
If we
at it the way we should be looking at it. The community board is supposed to be there for the people of the community board. Right now you have 3 people in that office. You have Jeremy, Harriet, who works part-time, and you have Chris. You know yourself that there's times when Harriet has to be out. That leaves Chris and Jeremy. Jeremy goes to a meeting. Chris is there by himself. All right? So let's be real.
Yes.
Another hand would be advantageous because we're supposed to be there for the people of the community. To have someone there to answer the phones or to do outreach or whatever has to be done. Whether it turns out that we change the title after we get these people's paperwork in and we don't really see anybody that we like or whatever the situation is, you do need somebody that catches the slack. Whether you agreed with John Fratter or not, he was somebody there who was in-between person. You now have no in-between person. So Jeremy, with his new family, if he has to take off, if Harriet is out sick, there's only Chris. He has no backup, and it's not fair to him. So we have to think of it the correct way. What are we here for, and what is the office there for, before you do anything else?
Sal and Daisy. Apparently, I concur with Tom McKenna's description, and I really agree with Linda. You already posted the job. People are already or in the process of submitting applications. Why on earth are we, at this stage of the game, taking a vote whether we're going to hire somebody or not? You already committed. The executive committee decided on it. It's a done deal. It's a fiat. You can't change it.
That's not.
Daisy?
I just want to make a comment. We also can't lose talent. You know, and the way to retain talent is that you pay them well. So my concern is now we lost John, we just have these 3. We have to do our best to retain.
Thank you. Obi?
So, just 2 things. First thing, I don't think, I wasn't here for the recruiting interns, but I was just at a career event last Tuesday, and about 12 teens, seniors, that wanted some community service. So I think we can do a better job recruiting from high schools and colleges, just internships. And my other thing is, I know Tom answered the salary, the merit increases, but my other question is, where does Jeremy stand compared to other district managers?
And to John.
Tony, I think you need to go into
You know, we want to go, we got to go into executive session, and then there's a lot more to this that you would want to know.
Tony,
Okay?
I can't answer the question because I don't particularly know off the top of my head, so I don't want to guess. Jeremy can probably answer that off the
Can we go on?
Where do I stand compared to my colleagues? I know I'm on the lower end. I used to be the lowest for a long time. I don't think I'm the lowest anymore. I'm the 3rd longest serving in the Bronx, though, currently.
How do you stand compared to John, when John left? Before John left as a part-timer?
Below John's salary.
Below John's salary.
That's where you stand today, below John's salary. Okay.
Are we going to proceed with the suggestion, let's get the resumes in, let's follow up, and then we come to the board? Or do you want to do, well, we can't do a vote, right, Tom? Yeah, we can't do. In other words, we got to complete the process we started, and this will come back to us again, okay? Now, there's certain things you said that we can't say, you know what I mean? And because we got to go into executive session, maybe if you heard certain things, you would probably think twice, okay? So don't force the issue now. If you want it, we'll go into an executive session, Joe. And then we'll have to discuss certain things that I don't think I want to discuss in front of people, okay? So,
Let's go.
you want to move on and let the process finish?
Move on. Yes, move on.
Okay, let's move on, okay? Treasurer's report.
Again. Amen.
We're not voted. No vote.
Okay, the treasurer's report has been distributed. If you have any questions, you see me after the meeting.
I have a
Or
question,
Harry.
but I'd like to put the question on the floor.
No, you see me after the meeting.
I'd like to put the question on the floor. About the treasurer's report. I think we need a little bit more detail on some of these items. I'm concerned when I see that $295 is dispersed from the Friends of account to Jeremy, but it doesn't say why. I don't have any reason to think that there's an issue with it, but I'm just recommending that the description contain more description. And also, I have a specific question about check 1911, which says it was to the 49th Precinct Club for a donation, but it says it was January 28, 2018. So either the date is wrong, or somebody sat on the check for a year.
I'm pretty sure the date is right.
The date is correct?
Well,
But the
we'll
numbers
check it
don't
out.
make any sense, because 1910, the check 1910 was made on November 20th of 2018. How could check 1911 have been written in January of 2018?
Okay, Sylvia said we'll look into it and we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Judge's report concluded, District Manager's report. Tony and I will probably talk about this together, because he made a request to have a meeting with the U.S. Postal Service. I know Bernadette's having one in May, Postal Service, so we'll have an earlier one if we can get it arranged. As you can see, I emailed this lady, I spoke to her on the phone. I also been in contact with Congressman Ocasio-Cortez's office and Engel's office, and I sent written correspondence today to Schumer's office and Gillibrand's office about a meeting with the post office. If you have any issues, please let us know. I know there's an issue with temporary mail carriers. I know somebody already complained to me about the alarm keeps going off at the Baychester station. So that's about the U.S. Postal Service Conflicts of Interest Board training. So in March, yeah, post office.
I'm sorry. On the postal, Bernadette, who's coming to your meeting for the post office?
10460.
You're getting the heads of the post office. Well, let me tell you, I'm sure, I gotta say this here. I spoke to Congress AOC's representative the other day. This is my concern. With the postal delivery, for the last year or so, not my regular people, not the regular guys, the subs. They forget about what they're coming. I'm not getting mail. Some of my mail, my 1099s are coming. Guess where? I had to go to the post office and have an argument, and they went and looked for a second time. They found some of my 1099s being returned to sender. It's so bad, really bad, it's bugging me. The other day, I have my car bill. I didn't get it. March 1st, it's due. I find out, it went out by GMC February 9th, never got it. This is crazy. It's the fill-ins. I went over to the post office this morning, and I spoke to an old-timer there. And you know what she tells me? In 10469 I'm talking about. By the way, it's happening all over, 10462 and everything. The old-timer says that they're hiring. They're starting, I believe, the salary about $12, $13 an hour. They start them. You know what they do? They hire them, they give a bag, go out, there's your route. They don't have a clue, these people. Some of this mail is getting dumped. It's getting brought back. It's staff. It's the management, the overhead staff of the Postal Service. I want a meeting with not the 104 postal, the local ones. You got to have somebody above. And I want AOC to be there, or a representative from AOC. You know, I appreciate what she's doing, but also she represents community, she represents us. She has to address these local issues on the post office. She's our congresswoman. In addition, I was going to suggest everybody inundate her with calls. Beside that, call Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand. They're the feds. We got to get after this post office. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if you're having trouble, but I appreciate if you're having trouble, open up. And it's not the regular people, it's the fill-ins.
Yeah,
It's the hiring process.
You're right.
Let me tell you, we had 3 of these post office bosses at our meeting last year. 10462, 10461, 10467, 10469. It was okay for exactly 2 weeks. After that, we're right back where we started from. Because the problem is that the people that are coming in to take over the jobs do not know how to read the mail. They don't care enough. That's the problem.
That's what the employee was telling me, the old timer.
That's right.
They don't care. They want to just collect their check.
They want to just
collect
get
their
done
check.
with the work during the day, but I will tell you one thing. Last week, we had an inspector come in with the mail person, so they are working on it. She came and she watched as she was delivering the mail in every box. So that one day was terrific.
Okay, but no, really, if you people call your congresswoman, call your senators, let them know. They'll pay attention, hopefully. Thank you.
Why don't you call Lucasia?
Okay, all right. So conflicts of interest board. So they're following up on the required training for us. So we scheduled them to come at 6:30 in March here. So I need you to come here at 6:30 in March. Okay? It's mandatory training, right? It's every 2 years. We didn't have it 2 years ago, but hey, we're going to have it this March, okay? 6:30 here. The public can sit and watch if they want, I was told, but it's only for board members. It shouldn't take longer than 20 minutes, hopefully.
March 28th.
March 28th is the full board meeting. On the calendar. Okay, and then, so Rodney Kemraj, former staffer of ours, and former borough president staffer, you might have heard that her father passed away. I spoke to her recently just to see how she was doing, and she thanked me. Because if some of you recall back in 2013, my mother was in a near fatal car accident, in which in 2014 I ended up sending a letter to various people, Bronx Times, it got published and whatever. She thanked me because in it I reminded people about you never know what can happen to you, get your stuff together. And so when her father was in the hospital, they made her sign a power of attorney form. Because she went back, found my email which she had saved, and went out and got a power of attorney form so she could get her stuff together. So it's just a reminder, please, if you don't have, even if you're an individual, and that was what I was informed at the time, because I was an individual at the time, I wasn't married, please get your stuff lined up, power of attorney, which is separate from the will. And then, as discussed last month, we did contract an organization called FedCap to clean up certain parts of our district. As one board member who made a request for graffiti removal, which we met with, which is item number E as well, we met with AOC's, this is Congresswoman, I hope everybody knows what AOC means now, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's office. We met with her yesterday at one of these graffiti locations, which was tagged again already. The request that, thanks to Joe McManus, that FedCap is looking into, the company that removes the graffiti, is using what the MTA uses, is to coat properties with a particular graffiti resistant or easy to clean coating. So they're going to experiment with that and hopefully use it for the properties that we got cleaned up. So a board member of ours did say they did not meet the Congresswoman yet, but they would like to. So I requested that she come to our April full board meeting. March was not an option because Congress is in session and we prefer when she's not in session. So I requested April. I did get an email today asking if we could do May, but I'm not sure that would work. Now, it's also in my report. If you picked it up, it wasn't in the packet because I had to print it. Printers are a little slow after the packets were formed. Our meeting in May, or our full board meeting in April, is currently scheduled on Tuesday. This was decided at leadership last month because there's an issue of Passover. There will be no cookies No ifs and ands or buts about that. No food in here that day. It's April 23rd. Councilmember Joe and I had I'm sorry, we also met with AOC's office regarding Amtrak yesterday. Tony and I. And Gustavo Rivera's office, who's obviously couldn't be here today. Councilmember Joe and I's office had this town hall meeting this past Monday night. I know I saw David Levitt there, Earl Southbridge, Veronica Castro, and Ken Gelnick, and maybe some, and Fran Osegreta. Yes, sorry if I forget anybody. So one thing that was talked about is the council member wanted to admonish us, not scold us, warn us. And we try not to be so quick to reject anything that comes our way. It's a ULEP process, because his concern is that they're going to they could, if they wanted to, in a site like Barnwell Commons, put in a homeless shelter without our input, without required parking, and more units, housing units than what Barnwell's being proposed. At least if that's what I heard correctly on Monday. And a good case in point would be the Morris Park Road diet, which originally is all Morris Park Avenue, then they gave us a compromise deal. It's only from Bronxton and Williamsbridge Road, but because members of the community were against it, they said, fine, we do go back to the original plan. So that's maybe a precursor, hopefully not. Pelham Parkway Task Force meeting earlier this week. It was on Tuesday. We are currently having those meetings on a need basis. But we are looking to schedule something for the public towards the fall, maybe August, because in the fall they plan on starting work on the service road on the north side. It could be earlier than the fall, but a month notice we'll try to make everybody aware of. We're going to have a meeting because the north side of Pelham Parkway, the service road, is going to be very problematic, or at least they foresee it being very problematic. So we'll put together a town hall. I did request at my district service cabinet, the task force meeting district service before, I did request that DDC first off the bat address the south side issue, which came up here at a full board meeting, right? You heard it from me, but you need to hear it from the horse's mouth that after this is all said and done, they're going to repave the south side main road and service road. And they said okay, because they know that we care about that very much. And I also asked, them to inspect the guardrails on the main road, the northern part, towards White Plains Road. One is might be a structural integrity issue. They will look at that and get back to us. And you can follow up with that today with an email. They are definitely aware of it, and they're going to look into it. Youth Leadership Award.
Jeremy, you forgot the cleanup from the rain, the residue and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they think that issue's being handled when it was flooding, remember, so for those of you who weren't here, back in 2011, when the project started, the reason for it, we've requested this in our budget priorities since the 1980s, if not before, Tom was district manager before John Fadden. So there's me, John Fadden, and Tom Lucania. And Tom Brown before him, the first district manager. They requested the repavement of Pelham Parkway. That's how much they care about our budget priorities, because it took till 2011. Because the community board is formed in 1977. But 2011, they came around and said, yes, you're right. Pelham Parkway matters. They want to stop the flooding, so they redo the sewer. That's one of the reasons they're redoing the sewers. You have a lot more people maybe in the neighborhood, a lot more hookups. But it was still flooding on the south side. And with that, I was pressing pretty hard on DEP, sanitation, and parks to clean up the parkway. And they think it's working pretty well. It's getting close to the rainy season, and we'll find out how well it's actually working. So unless there's any other questions on that statements, let's go to Yankee Awards. So as discussed last month, we put forward 5 applicants. I was informed this month that those applicants were approved. I sent out emails, I believe, yesterday to the sponsoring organizations. So there's a game set for May 14th, 2019, Tuesday, 6:35 p.m. Civic associations will get tickets distributed. We do allow walk-ins for people who want to come to our meetings that aren't necessarily part of one of your civic associations. I don't have tickets yet, all right? So I don't know how many you're getting. Please don't ask. As soon as I get them, I will dole them out, and we'll distribute. Did you have a question about that, Veronica?
I just have a question about it and not about the tickets itself. I want to be there to support our honoree that won. I plan on buying my own tickets since the board members are not allowed to be there. Do I need to submit to you a receipt in case it's questioned later why I was there to show that I actually purchased my own ticket?
So I will turn this over to Tom, who's gotten the opinion of the Conflicts of Interest Board on the matter.
I would hold on to a receipt. I don't think if you're there and you purchase your tickets, Jeremy knows the organizations that he's given the tickets to, but obviously since you are a board member, you can't accept the free ticket. You buy your own personal ticket, you're going to get a receipt. I would just hold on to the receipt. If somebody would.
Thank you.
And the only exception to that, to my knowledge, would be a board member whose child got the award, because the Yankees do specifically invite the family. And the Conflicts of Interest Board, some people have asked us, I've already mentioned this publicly, but board members' children, they are allowed to apply for the award. As long as the board member is not part of the discussion on who should receive the award. Okay? Alternate side street sweeping request. Do you have any objections to this? The property owner for Lubin Hill Parkway South asked for this themselves. Sanitation said it shouldn't be a problem. I haven't informed this area yet because I don't see if there are any complaints. They were not at the leadership committee meeting when I raised this issue. And then last but not least, at least for now, Department of Sanitation. So, as stated on page 7 of my report, we are surveying all committee boards and council members regarding littering from motor vehicles in their districts. We're asking that you let us know the top 3 to 4 locations where this issue is most relevant in your district, and where possible, increased enforcement monitoring would be most beneficial. Please provide this information by Friday, March 1st, 2019. For those of you who have email, I look forward to that email on to you, and I got 7 responses. I'm going to put them in chronological response order. So I don't know how we want to eliminate some of these. I don't know if we want to look this over quickly while the meeting continues and we'll return to this at old business and determine what are the 3 to 4 locations, or I could just stop with the 3 to 4, start with the 3 to 4 responses and go from there and see what happens with that. Anyone have any ideas or suggestions? Everybody took a copy from, Chris gave you a copy in my report, right? Page 7 and 8. So I'll come back, we'll revisit this at old business. All right, if not, if we forget about it, I guess I'll do the top 4. Okay, so let's move on to the leadership committee meeting. Tony Vitaliano.
Leadership. Motion to send a written correspondence to our federal elected officials requesting the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund receive permanent funding. Do I have a second? Junior Campbell. Open for discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Against? Abstentions? Motion unanimously passed. Motion to send a written correspondence to our federal elected officials requesting that they safeguard the federal holiday known as Columbus Day. Do I have a second on that? Second. Don Shiano, okay. Open for discussion. All those in favor? Aye. All those against? One against, 2. Who's the other one? 3.
List the names.
Daisy Rodriguez, Lisa Soto. Who else? Is it against? Kelly Murphy. That's it? 3. Okay.
Any abstentions?
Abstentions.
That's me. And Pat Childs?
Pat Childs, 2.
Okay.
Motion approved. Now I turn it over to David Levitt with bylaws.
Good evening.
Is this on?
No, it is.
Thank you. Last month, we discussed a change to the board's bylaws, Article 4, Section 3, that would change the number of years required of board membership in order to be eligible to be a board officer, from 4 years to 2 years. I believe we had an extensive discussion last month about that, and as required by our bylaws, we could not vote last month. We had to leave it on the floor for a month. I believe the motion's already out there, Jeremy, right? So we're really only voting on this. But before we vote, I'll ask if there's any questions or any discussion. Yes.
Mike, please.
I'm sorry, I wasn't here last month, but just quickly, what's the rationale behind it?
This had to do with the recent change in the city charter that everyone voted on in November that passed that applied term limits to board members. So even though the term limits for board members will not come into effect for 6 or 8 years, we could have a situation at that time where people will not have enough years of board membership in order to be eligible to be an officer, and we won't have any officers. Any other questions? Then we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed? Any abstentions? No abstentions. It passes unanimously. The change will take effect immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Don Chiano, Economic Development.
Yes, we had 5 places come up for renewal. Bottom line is we checked with the precinct. The precinct didn't have a problem with any one of them. And they're all renewals. Okay, the first one is Ruby's Restaurant. The next one is Pasta. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Yeah, hey. One abstention. Okay.
Passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Diane Norris, Education Culture Committee.
Good evening. I did meet with the on the Education Committee February 5th, and I met with 3 branch managers, librarians from Morris Park, Van Ness, and the Arlington Avenue. And they gave a lot of information out. The minutes is enclosed. And our next meeting is March 5th. Please come out. Education Committee, our meeting is every Tuesday of the month. I'm going to turn it over to Linda. You have anything to say, Linda? Okay.
Just a reminder that you have a guest. We have a guest arranged.
Oh, we do have a guest Tuesday.
Okay.
So please come out.
And if you can't come, please let us know sooner rather than later. Okay? All right. So we have a new chairperson for the Community Development and Budget Priorities. Dr. Patel, we thank you for your service, but he has stepped down from the Community Development Committee. And I will turn this now over to Andrea Siegel.
Well, I'm going to be thank you. The new chair, obviously it's going to be a learning curve for me, but I promise I will do to my absolute best to accommodate everybody's wants and needs, and hopefully you won't have any problems.
Thank you.
Andrea, you'll do a great job.
All right.
I'll try my best.
Yes, I of course agree. And one thing I did want to announce during my report, which I forgot to, if everybody got the Register of Community Board budget requests, we got this this month. It's supposed to come to us in January, but it did come to us in this month. And if we want to comment, we should make a decision tonight. The only thing I would recommend commenting on is, if you don't mind turning the page to 218, you will see the first priority, number 7, I wrote, last year's response from the city was, OMB supports the agency's position as follows. Unable to prioritize funding for this project request at this time. And then I said, please help us understand why this is the case. What's the priority? How's the priority order or something like that? We should, I guess, maybe ask. Look at the response this year. Unable to prioritize funding for this project request. They don't give you a specific reason. I would ask that we try to get more understanding about how they prioritize requests in general. That's the only thing I would recommend we respond with at this point in time. Now, I know Andrea and I talked about some of these request is supported by PS 89. But as far as I know, we don't have anything in writing from PS 89, and we will probably reach out, or I will probably reach out to the school and say to them, is this still a priority? If they say yes, great. I need something in writing from you. Whether it's the school, a civic association, because why should it be there if they can't put it in writing themselves? Okay? Any other questions, comments? Did you guys think my idea is a good idea? Ask about priority? Okay. So, okay. All right, so I'll do that then. Unless anybody's opposed, I'll ask about how they prioritize. Thank you very much, Edith. Or I'm very, very, very sorry about that. Thank you very much, Andrea. Okay. All right. Joe Picote is out today, but we do have Sandy Unger, please. Health Committee.
The Health Committee originally was scheduled for a week before, but due to the weather, we canceled. The speaker did not come, but we started to plan for the health fair on June 23rd at Bronx House between 12 and 3. And if anyone here at the board is interested in being part of the health fair, please let us know. And everyone has been given, we mapped out who's going to contact certain people, etc. This coming month, Beverly Michaels from Montefiore Hospital is coming to give us an update on what is happening at Montefiore. So everyone is welcome to come. And that about covers it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sandy. Janice Walcott could not be here tonight. There's nothing scheduled. She couldn't be at leadership either. There's nothing scheduled for housing on the calendar. I will confirm with her that there's no meeting. And then we'll turn it over to Ken Gelnick, land use.
There was no meeting of the land use committee last month. This month we will have a meeting on the 13th, and the issue is on Sackett Avenue. There'll be a public hearing on that. Not a public hearing, just a meeting over there.
Yeah, so this is a BSA application for 974 Sackett Avenue. We have already received multiple statements from the community opposing the application. So this is a land use committee meeting. So land use committee members are required. Nobody outside of that currently is required. It's not a public hearing. And that is March 13th. Yes. With the exception of the district service cabinet meeting, all of our meetings are open to the public. Parks and Recreation, Pat Charles.
Yes, we had a very good meeting. We've been having pretty good meetings lately, and I don't know where there's no minutes here, but we did have recording, so I'm not sure exactly where the minutes are.
Yeah, I know Harriet normally types them up. She was out sick, so I will follow up on that.
Okay,
we'll get minutes out.
Thank you.
Public Safety, Yahe.
We did meet. We had a good meeting. The DA's office was there, NYPD was there. Unfortunately, the pharmacies were not there. The whole meeting was to focus on shoplifting at the local pharmacies. I went around and invited about a half dozen pharmacies to attend. Jeremy sent them 2 emails, but they were no-show at the meeting. But overall, we had a good meeting. It was a follow-up to the previous meetings we had, and the DA's office said there is improvement in the system since that meeting. Thank you.
Tony Signorelli, Sanitation Committee.
We did not meet with Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And we all love the
colleagues
sanitation.
had obligations that night.
But we are looking at having a meeting next month.
Next month, try to get me.
You still want the guest, I know.
Yes.
Transportation Committee, Fernando Zagretto.
We had a meeting and we had a request for a speed bump as well as a four-way stop on Waring Avenue. That request has gone in. I recommend that as many as possible from this community board to reach out to the Transportation Commissioner for the Bronx. Let's put some pressure so that
Oops, wrong one, sorry.
so they could push this project a little quicker. The study, they claim, might take up to a year to even start, so that's unacceptable. If for all of you that might not know, there is a sign recommending that people use Waring Avenue to prevent going on Pelham Parkway North. So what's happening is people are speeding, there's been a couple of accidents, and we don't want somebody getting killed. So as many of you as possible, reach out to the commissioner. I appreciate it. I thought that we also had a vote for an event, which I don't see here, but we'll have to check on the minutes.
Girl Scout event?
Yes, and we approved it unanimously.
Okay. When is the event, Chris? You know if it's... Okay.
So
All right.
basically, to explain to everyone, it's really not, and they're delivering cookies, and they're not taking too much space, but we put it there and approved it, and really we wanted to bring it to the board to approve it.
It's March 2nd, so do you... This Saturday? Wow. So do you want to make a motion? You had no objections, right?
The committee overwhelmingly approved it, so
Okay.
no objection.
All right. Yeah, we didn't have minutes, right, for the committee?
We
Do you have the tape? though?
minutes were taped. If necessary, next time I'll write them if they're not
No,
going to happen.
we'll just... okay. So you want to make a motion for...
Yes, that we approve the event on March 2nd. As I said, it's really for delivery of cookies for the sectors of the Bronx.
Okay. Second by Tony Vitaliano.
Any questions?
Any discussion? Hey,
Well, we had no-
we're still here. All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Thank you.
Frano. Old business. Bernadette Ferrara. I'm going to go down the line. Bernadette, Debbie, Yaya. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to add for your list with the sanitation, for your responses, your 1 to 8, your 1 to 7 with regard to areas.
Yep.
Besides, of course, our Adam Street, which is the transit, you said transit wall from 180th Street to Garfield.
Okay.
Okay, that's the MTA wall. There's also on White Plains Road between Baker and East Tremont, there is that has been a 311 call constantly. You have a lot of the taxis, etc., staying there as a major dumping area, and it's constantly. There are no, houses there, etc., and it's pretty bad. And I've called more than 4 or 5 times over the past maybe year or two.
Okay.
It's very bad.
So I put it on the list. Maybe they only want 3 to 4. So I don't know, maybe after today, if you take number 4 off. Okay, number 4 is off. But maybe if you want to tell me after today, if you want to send me an email, call the office, which other ones you agree with, and then whoever has the most support is what we'll put forward. Does that make sense? Is that okay? So we don't have to do it all here? Okay. We're going down the line. I saw Debbie, Yahe, then Dom, and then Andrea. Debbie Kowalik.
Yes, I wanted to know what's the status of a temporary pathway from Stillwell to the bus stop at Pelham Parkway North. I asked for, it's like couple months back that I asked for a temporary pathway because there's many people in that area that have limited mobility issues and they need something more than a dirt road that gets flooded in the rain and all of that.
So I believe there's opposition to that, which is stalled the request. Fran, do you have something?
Opposition from whom?
Members of our own board, for example.
Okay,
Yes.
I wasn't made aware of it, and to my knowledge, that was approved, and they concurred that they are willing to do it.
Yes.
Could you bring it to our attention as to who's opposed, and then we'll discuss it?
Yeah. The Pelham Park Area Task Force meetings are after my district service cabinet meetings. I don't know if you're able to attend that. The next meeting to be scheduled following my district service cabinet meeting, they're now the second Thursday of every month to hopefully avoid conflicts. So that's at 1 p.m. Then the task force meeting would be at 2:30 p.m. Would you be able to attend that?
I will speak to my place of employment.
Okay,
and
please let me
try
know
to-
as soon as
and try to-
possible.
And try to come to that early.
Jeremy, I could have brought this up at the last meeting that I attended with you.
Yeah.
Had I been made aware. I wasn't made aware. There was a commitment that
Yep.
they would build this pathway.
Yep.
It
They're willing to do it.
It affects not one, not two, but hundreds of people that work in all those nursing homes. I am willing to discuss it with whoever has an objection.
That's why we'll have this meeting. So I might want to make sure Debbie can come though, if possible.
Thank
All right? So then Yahe.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to get maybe an update on 3 construction sites. One of them, Pelham Parkway North. The left lane was closed today approaching Eastchester Road, but there was no work being done right before the light. That lane is used for everyone to turn left to head towards this direction and towards the precinct, but it's closed. So you have to go into the middle lane to go make the left, but there was no work being done during rush hour. So if there's no work, it should be open, move the cones, keep traffic flowing.
This is related to the reconstruction project, to your knowledge?
I believe so.
All right, so I don't know if you remember Thomas Alexander when he spoke. If you don't have his contact info, I'm going to give it to you. I will reach out to him as well, but he's more than willing to speak to anybody that wants to call him.
He should be
great
at every single board meeting. I mean, it's a big impact to the community. How come he's not here? But okay.
Okay.
The other one is the Eastchester Road near Morris Park Avenue by Einstein and the Starbucks. I thought that was supposed to open in November.
So yes, I talked about this at my district service cabinet meeting. The current, I wrote it down. They're looking, I forget exactly, maybe August. So they were supposed to be done last year, right? Before the end of, by December 31st of last year. Now I think the projection is August. I'll verify that. And then they're looking, so that's Eastchester.
I thought Effie said June.
Well, you weren't at that meeting.
No, but there was a meeting that Effie mentioned that.
Okay.
So in the summer, okay. So the other thing, lastly, is 180th Street and Morris Park Avenue. What's going on with that?
The Bronx River.
Yeah,
It's
one
state
lane
work.
each way. How long is that going to last? Because it started in one direction, now it's in both directions. If there's a bus that stops to pick up out of passengers 180th, they just stop traffic because there's a bus there.
So
and the NYPD Transit, they also park their vehicles in the middle of the road, causing blind spots for people crossing the street. People can't see. I can't see people. They just show up in front of you, even if you're going 10 miles per hour.
So, so I think maybe even before I was district manager, when I worked for the council member, Shrado made the request to have these repaired. The beams, how terrible they looked for the Bronx River Parkway. Obviously, it took some time, but hopefully our complaints made a bit of an impact. So I will reach out to the state about that. We do have state elected officials we can reach out to as well. And I believe even though that location's not in Biaggi's district, maybe you can rely on, because you're probably one of her constituents, or some of you are, because I know other board members here have asked about the congestion. I did get an answer a while ago, and I did relay it to the board, but we'll follow up. But first of all, thank you, Shrado, for that as well. And then the cops, the police. I don't know if any, I don't know where to begin with that one. Maybe we should have a meeting with the transit district about this. I don't know if you have a guest lined up for your next public safety committee meeting, but would you be opposed to that? Okay, I guess Dom is going to cede to Linda White.
Yeah. People, get ready for Vision Zero. This is the way it's going to be. So once they finish the project, it's just going to roll over. And the transit guys have always parked there. Some park in the lot, but the majority of them always park there. The people you see parked on the wall are the construction guys. But the middle stanchion, the transit has always parked there. And if you get after them, they'll stop maybe for a month. They're going to be back there again. In fact, the RMPs for transit go across it. They don't even make a U-turn. They just go across it.
Okay. Dom Shiano.
Yeah, does the Fed cap take care of the streets over there on Bronx Park East also, or just the sidewalk?
So during our walkthrough in January, my walkthrough with Joe McManus and them, and sanitation department, because sanitation has issues like that particular area. So you got the transit district police parking in certain areas, and then you have the MTA workers parking in certain areas. And sanitation complains to me that because of their vehicles, litter accumulates under their vehicles. And so we've pressed sanitation, Joe McManus and I have pressed sanitation to ticket those vehicles. They gave them the MTA employees the courtesy first of reaching out to them, but they have ticketed them. They need to ticket them more. It's obviously...
You're talking about EMT workers?
The MTA workers. In terms of transit district...
I'm talking about from on Bronx Park East, from
Oh,
Pelham
I'm sorry.
Parkway North to Allenton Avenue. I mean, does the Fed cap clean the street, or just the sidewalk?
I believe it was just the sidewalk, but they should be cleaning 18 inches from the curb.
Well, it should be more than 18 inches, because you have a lot of taxi cabs that park there during the day. They just throw their garbage out. You have a lot of EMTs.
So I will add this to...
Ambulance.
I will add this to the list that sanitation was asking for, the survey. Bronx Park East.
Yeah, I thought we added that last week at the meeting, but I was mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, we could have,
Yeah,
maybe
no,
it was an oversight.
it's fine.
Bronx Park East between Allerton.
And Pelham Parkway North and Bronx Park East, between there and Allenton Avenue. I don't know if it goes further up to Arno.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Don. I did see Andrew's hand then, after that.
At our last Parks Committee meeting, we also discussed, having these streets cleaned and whatever. So that was a day or two before I emailed you what I did. I made a number of phone calls and to our local politicians, and we have a program now on Pelham Parkway called Bobcat. And they've been coming at least once a week to clean that stretch, the infamous
Wildcat, yeah.
Bobcat. However, they clean everything except the dog excrement.
Okay.
But they've been doing a decent job, and it looks a lot better. They come. I think they clean either every Wednesdays.
Yeah, so just remember, this was actually something requested by the community board, and that was given to Councilmember Torres' office to do that stretch of Bronx Park East. I will ask about the dog excrement.
But this is not Bronx Park. I'm talking about the sidewalk to nowhere, my infamous...
Oh, I'm sorry. They do that too at the request of Councilmember Jonai's office.
I contacted them. I contacted Talia's office. I don't know who sent them. I don't care. But
Jonai's office. As far as I know, it's Jonai's office. But I can't guarantee anything on the dog excrement.
No, that's what they said. They clean up everything except they don't do that.
Okay.
Rabbi.
All right. All right.
So they said hopefully the rain will take care of that.
People's feet. Rabbi.
Now, I had my hand up before, so.
Okay, it's all right.
Leadership here. Is there any way that you can move the April 23rd meeting to April 30th, and it'll make everybody happy? You can bring your cookies here and everything. Seriously, you're doing a Tuesday anyway. Could you do it the Tuesday after?
So is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Second by Sal.
Discussion.
That's a 49 precinct meeting.
Yes.
Which meeting?
So that's one reason why we knew it wouldn't conflict with the precinct council meeting, which is the last Tuesday of the month.
Okay.
So that's why we knew that that day would be okay.
Does Thompson say it's okay?
No. By me, it's fine.
By you, it's fine. Okay, good. Okay? I make a motion.
But
Wait a minute, what?
David, discussion. Mike, please.
Here he is.
Number 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wasn't the congressperson going to come on April 23rd?
I did make a specific request. I don't know. I could follow up on. I know they asked for May instead, so maybe there's an issue with April.
I don't have a calendar in front of me, but if we're changing it from a Tuesday to a Tuesday, why don't we go back to a Thursday? Is there a holiday?
Well, the reason the third Passover is the important nights of Passover when our meeting normally would be. So to actually have it within that month, it's really difficult to do it on a Thursday.
Keep it the same.
Ken Gelnick? Go ahead.
Instead.
I'm sorry,
Have
Sarah.
it on Monday, April 29th, so we don't conflict with the precinct council.
Fine with me.
Well, then we're going to conflict with the Northeast Bronx.
Oh, we've only somebody.
Jeremy, that's okay.
So that's okay. So April 29th?
No, since so if we,
Yeah, I don't know what the congressional calendar looks like.
We'll
so
make one exception.
But you also said that the congressperson asked to come in May.
but
So maybe we could confirm for May and go back to a Thursday.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'll look. I don't. Because they asked me for a date that wasn't our meeting in May. I told them when our meetings normally are. So it might be an issue, but whatever. If everybody's okay with the 29th, 29th.
The 29th is a Monday.
Monday.
Yes. Everybody okay with that? 29th.
For what, the full board?
Full board, April 29th. So, motion by
April 29th.
by Rabbi, second by Sal Conforto.
Good. Where are we going to meet?
As long as Mariella can arrange it.
Thank you.
Any against? Joanne Terra Lounge. Any abstentions?
I gotta abstain because otherwise.
Fran abstains. So motion carries. April 29th is our full board meeting. Okay. Any old or new business anymore?
Yes.
Shrado.
Jeremy,
Yes.
we receive a lot of complaint from our neighborhood where they have a lot of restaurants where the health department come and grade them with their food, you know, if a A, B, or C. Now we have a lot of deli in our neighborhood that sells food and cook it there, like chicharron and so other stuff. Why does the health department don't go there and give them grade? Because they're not making business when they do these things. They close
mean,
down the restaurant.
I think it's a state law or a state law that became a city law.
I don't know, but we need to do something about this.
As far as I was told, this was an idea that Jeff Klein got when he went to the Democratic National Convention in California in 2000. I think it was California in 2000, because they do it there. They have, and that's where the idea came from, and eventually Bloomberg stole it. But it's a law. You should definitely speak to your state electeds on maybe modifying it somehow. That's my advice. Because I can't
think
change the
they
law.
should give them grade too, because you know they're cooking, and I mean, you never know if there's a rat there or whatever is it, but they come to the restaurant and give them grade for that. So it's the same thing
I understand.
applies to them.
I highly recommend you
How
speak
can
to
we
your.
go about? I mean, maybe a councilman that we talk to, or
Yeah.
a state.
Yeah, your elected officials. City first, and then state, because it's the city health department that goes in.
Where's the office?
No, but I think it's a state law that made it a city law. Okay. Any other old business, new business? Veronica, new business. And then Edith. Veronica.
I just wanted to know if we could put in a request to the community board for MTA. Our Allerton trellis, the train trellis on Allerton on White Plains Road is really in disrepair. It needs to be painted, and if anybody can put in the request to maybe have MTA come and take a look at it and have it painted and maybe sealed. Because we thought maybe power washing it would do, but I don't think that's gonna
I
help
can,
because it's
I can
starting to
email my
rust.
contact tomorrow.
Okay,
And it-
okay.
Edith Blitzer.
All right, just to let you know that Pelham Parkway Neighborhood Association's next meeting is March 12th. That's the second Tuesday at Bronx House. We're having Judge Torres of the Supreme Court as our guest speaker. All is welcome. We do serve coffee and cookies.
Okay. Bernard?
Yes, and Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance, our next meeting is Monday, March 4th, 7 p.m. at the Monsignor Fiorentina Homes. We are waiting, our guest speaker is to be announced, but we'll have community updates. So, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
And at 9:03.